Hi everyone, welcome to another session of Product Management Basics. In this session, we are going to understand the basic product development methodologies. Uh, the agenda of this session is to understand why do we basically need these product development methodologies, how do we structure our thoughts based on these methods, and what are the main types of product development methods. In this, we are going to discuss the agile process of product development, the Kanban, the waterfall method, and the Scrum process. At the end of the session, we are going to understand the basic differences and similarities between the agile and the waterfall methods. So these are the most prominent methods of product development. So yeah, this is the overall agenda for the today's session. Before starting, a bit of introduction about myself. I'm Atul with more than 4 years of experience as a product manager. I am in this industry for more than 4 years, and my domain expertise is product development and growth in market research. And I have completed my MBA from Institute of Foreign Trade. So yeah, let's start with the session now. So let's start with what is a product development method and why do we need it? Product development method is nothing but a process framework for planning and executing digital products. So basically, if you talk in a very layman language, a product development method is a structure that you provide to a concept for delivering the final output, which in this case is often a digital product. So a product development method structures the whole concept of delivering a digital product. Uh, why do we need a product development methodology? Because in the cycle of developing a product, in the whole journey of conceptualization to delivery of a product, these methodologies help in various stages. So, for example, structuralizing of the ideas. So, the complete methodology of developing a product sorts of puts together the whole idea in a very structured format. So in uh, that helps the team to move in a on a charted course rather than moving astray from the main goal or the main aim. So that is one of the benefits of establishing the methodology in the very start. It also structuralizes the documentation process that is needed. So, for example, in waterfall methodology, a prime focus is often given to the documentation at each process, from conceptualization to moving the product in each phase of its journey. The stress is on every step of for documentation, but as compared to the agile, where the process is more iterative, the documentation stress or focus is only on the final version of the product in that iteration. So that ways the documentation is also very structured uh, in a when we define a product methodology. One of the other more prominent uh, benefits of having a product methodology is that it aligns the team in a particular direction. So, if we sort of define the product method in the very beginning, the team is aligned in that manner. So, for example, in agile process, it's a very iterative process in which starts with a very lean team, which is as compared to the waterfall method, wherein the team is very structured and starts off wherein each of the processes is complemented with a different team. So that ways the team is aligned in that methodology in a very different manner. So it sort of structures the team alignment as well, and then provides precise targets in terms of the completion of the project, in terms of the key deliverables, when are they required, the methodology structures and puts a benchmark on on the key deliverables and sort of gives it a complete structure. So So to say it in a more simple manner, uh, uh, establishing a product a method in the very beginning structures the whole concept of building a product, and it helps in many ways for developing the product and without the wastage of any kind of resources. So yeah, moving ahead. So what are the various types of product development methodologies? Today we are going to discuss four most prominent methods of product development, which is the Agile, Kanban, Scrum, and Waterfall methods. The Agile method. First, we are going to discuss the Agile methodology. Agile methodology of product development entails developing of a product in versions. So, typically in an Agile methodology, you start with an MVP or a most viable product with the most basic and essential features of that product, and then you build on those products in various versions based on the customer feedback and market developments. So an agile methodology is an iterative way of developing a product wherein the focus is usually on the final version of the product with more or less features based on the customer feedback, and in each version of that product a newer and more improved product is delivered to the end user. So in an agile methodology, the focus is usually on the final final version of the product, unlike the waterfall methodology that we are going to discuss. So a Kanban process is a Kanban process uh, is an sort of variant of agile methodology in a way that it uses the agile product development framework only, but the focus in Kanban process is to make the cycle more efficient. So the stages of iterations in a Kanban process stresses on that the each cycle is not it does not come across any of the bottlenecks in the development. So each of these cycle in the Kanban process make sure that any new feature or any new development that comes up does not reduce the efficiency of the complete cycle, and the whole accountability of the efficiency of the process is maintained in the Kanban process, which is very clear through a Kanban chart that you might have used, wherein the stages of various developments are defined, and then the various developments are charted out based on those stages. So in a way, it reduces the work as the stage to completion is reached in a Kanban process. The Scrum process of product development again takes it uh, takes its main method of product development from the agile methodology itself. It adopts the same agile framework. It's just that in Scrum process, the iterations or the ideas are based uh, on the feedbacks of the teams. So usually in a Scrum process, the teams get together for a Scrum meeting, and then they discuss what are the gaps or what are the takeaways that they've had in this cycle of process, and then based on their feedback, changes or improvements are done in the Scrum process. So a Scrum process of development usually makes the system more efficient in a way by taking the feedback of the development team and the feedback of the peers, and in understanding the gaps. So these three methods of Agile, Kanban, and Scrum are usually based on the same framework. It's just that they differ in how the iterations are taken forward. This, as compared to the waterfall methodology, is very different. Now, in waterfall methodology of product development, each stage of product development, from ideation to conceptualization to development, is documented and moves in a very linear manner. So, as compared to an agile methodology where the team starts in a very with where the development starts with a very less number of people, the waterfall methodology starts with the documentation of each stage, and then thereafter each stage is taken up, uh, and then the development is again done in a typical waterfall method, wherein the first stage will be completed first, and then it moves to second stage, wherein the completion of that stage will happen, and then step by step this is moved towards the delivery of the product. So in the waterfall methodology, usually the feedback does not come into the picture, because till the product is takes the shape as per documentation, as per initial idea, the it has it's a very structured way of development, and the scope of incorporation of changes are not as much as in agile methodology. So yeah, these are the basic tenets of these four ways of product development. Just a look at the agile versus the waterfall methods. So these are two very different methods of product development, which have their own similarities and differences. Now, in terms of time required for final version of development, for both the waterfall and agile is almost the same. It's just that in agile, a lot more iterations happen before delivery of the final version of the product that is required. While in waterfall methods, focus is on each stage of development in a very efficient manner. So more or less, the time required for final version of development remains the same. It's just that the product launch time in Agile is much less as compared to Waterfall, because Waterfall focuses on each step in a much more granular manner as compared to Agile. Now, role of surveys and customer feedbacks remains the same in Agile and Waterfall methods. It's just that the scope of incorporation in Agile in Waterfall is at a much later stage, while in Agile the scope of incorporating those changes comes with each iteration. The stages of development is obviously the same in both Agile and Waterfall. Again, the differences come in the iterations of these stages. Uh, the main differences are again the product launch time and start of revenue generation. In Agile method, usually if the in two or three iterations, if the product achieves the product market fit, the ROI usually starts to come. But in waterfall method, unless and until the final stage of development is reached, the revenue will not come from the market. And then agile process of product development usually can start with a team of 2 or 3 members, wherein they can come up with a solution, and then start with a product which delivers an essential features in the market. While in waterfall method, an initial more initial investment is required. A lot more number of people are required in this team, and the documentation process is also very huge. So yeah, that's the main difference between the agile and the waterfall methods. So yeah, that by that we come to the end of this session. In this session, we understood why do we need product development methodology. We understood how it structures our idea of product development. We went through four types of product development methods: the Agile, Kanban, Waterfall, and Scrum, and understood the similarities and differences between the Agile versus Waterfall methods. So yeah, that's it for the session today. For any questions or feedback, please comment in the video and we'll get back to you. Thank you and have a nice day.